What's up, y'all? It's Kymmy Coco, your host for Innovative Black Stations Connecting the Dots, and we are in the thick of things, and we have a lot to talk about. So I just wanted to introduce, if you don't know who's talking in the background, Jay Black, our producer, is one of the people that you'll always hear talking in the background. And if you follow Innovative Black Station, and if you follow CTD_ATL on Instagram, then you'll know who I'm talking about, Jay Black. And we also have our contributor, and he's our millennial, our millennial expert. Gen Z? Oh, well, we have a Gen Z expert. Jay Black is the millennial expert, and we have a Gen Z voice here. And Jared, introduce yourself and tell everyone how they can reach you if they want to, have you comment on something.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, this is Jared. You guys can reach me at Instagram at JaredVII. That's the Roman numeral 7. After Jared, it's JaredVII.
All right, come show people your face so they'll see who you're talking about. Because you know how you get on social media and you're like, I don't know if that's that person or not. So you can see the face because his picture on his social media is him. So wave. That's our Gen Z representative. And I'm glad that you're all here, because we have a lot to cover. So, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away yesterday, and we had so many topics that we want to discuss, but I want to make sure we get this out of the way, because this is what is going to be talked about over the next few, months, especially leading up to the election. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was kind of what people are calling the voice of reason, in the Supreme Court. If you remember, we talk about the 3 branches of government: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. And the Supreme Court is the top of the judicial branch of government, right? So there are Supreme Court nominees that get nominated. A president appoints them. She was appointed by Bill Clinton. So usually when the president appoints someone, it's someone that is in line with what their values are, someone that has the same, ideologies as them. Or if you want to ask me, if this president, to get him out of trouble, because it seems like people that he appoints or people that he wants to be involved in stuff are always bailing him out, right? Doing some crazy stuff. So when she passed away, everybody's just like, oh my God, that's it. He's going to appoint somebody. I heard last week he was talking about appointing Ted Cruz. We don't want him to do that, right? So the Senate, which is now Republican controlled, they would have the ultimate decision after the nomination, like they did for Brett Kavanaugh. You guys remember Brett Kavanaugh getting... Okay, so that was one of Trump's appointees. And so remember when he was in front of all those people, they'll have to do that again.
Okay, yeah, they had like a trial for him.
Yeah, it's really like a nomination hearing, So his thing was he was accused of sexual harassment or something like that. Like he was being inappropriate with the woman, or he sexually abused her or something. So then his credibility is on the line, because you are the ultimate decision maker. Because, if the government or if somebody tries to get something done and they can't get it done, they say, oh, we go to the Supreme Court. That's the top, right? So if the people at the top are more in your favor than not, then that's what everybody's upset about. So, for example, abortion. Now, you know how many states are going back and forth to court? Remember we were talking about the abortion ban in a previous episode? Make sure you check out some of our previous episodes, because we always discuss this stuff. And then we try to get out as much information as we can, so when stuff like this happens, you know why people are, what the chatter is about, right? So a conservative is anti-abortion usually. They're pro-life. That's what that means. Like, they don't want people to be able to get abortions. And in some states, because it's not completely outlawed on the federal level, they have gone as far as to only have one place where you can get an abortion. Now, I know we're in a room full of guys and I'm the only girl, but some people believe you have the right to choose what you want to do with your own body, and the government should not be allowed to do that. Some people think Abortion is wrong. You shouldn't do it. Blah, 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 blah. Some people think, let people do what they want to do and let God judge them. But if it's illegal, that kind of wipes out two views. You know what I mean? Like, even if you do believe you should be able to, or if you think let people do what they want, you won't be able to because they'll be outlawed. That's something that conservatives want to happen. That is a major issue for a lot of people when they decide who they're going to vote for, whether they're pro-life or not. And the Republican Party, whatever they are now, I don't know what they are now, it's hard to tell, but a lot of them are pro-choice. Let people do what they want to do. Also, discrimination cases. Like, one of the most famous cases lately was the guy that didn't want to do the cake for the gay couple. You know, stuff like that. Like, all that, when it comes down to it, you sue the people, you take them to the Supreme Court. So you want to have you want to have a balance, right? Well, since she's gone, you know Trump is going to appoint somebody like that nobody wants. Somebody that's just going to help him get his stuff pushed through.
And what was the balance like, I guess, before her passing?
I just saw that somewhere.
Okay.
Let's find it.
Because I guess if it was kind of already leaning towards more of a conservative, I guess, I don't know, like a conservative favor beforehand, I guess this would kind of tip the scale even more so.
So, Brett Kavanaugh, he and Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Samuel Alito, John Roberts, they are conservative. Sonia Sotomayor, the Puerto Rican woman who was nominated by Barack Obama, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Elena Kagan, and Stephen Breyer, they are the liberals out of the bunch. So if you now have, so right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. But if you replace her with a conservative,
be 6 to 3.
Yeah.
Got you.
The most liberal of them all, allegedly, is Sonia Sotomayor. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was following her. Elena Kagan, Stephen Breyer, John Roberts, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Clarence Thomas is the most conservative. And he's black, but he's different.
I've heard.
Yeah. So I saw something about him, and I don't know. You know, I think that he's jaded. You know, some black people are jaded by their families, and that puts them at a different, I don't know. I just picked that up from watching this thing I watched about him. It was a documentary, and he kind of was narrating it, and it just seemed like he resented his family's humble beginnings. And when he went off to Yale or Harvard, whichever law school he went to, like, nobody in his family came to his graduation. So I was like, oh, he must feel some kind of way, like, you know, I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, I think it just depends. Like you said, it's probably humble beginnings, and I don't know. You could go either way. You could grow up resenting that, or you embrace it and just embrace who you are. So I think it just depends. It's an interesting dynamic when it comes to that, you know?
Right. So when it comes to the confirmation hearing, like they're pushing forward, even though in 2016. Before Obama was about to leave, everybody was like, Lindsey Graham and a couple of other senators were like, oh, well, you know, he's leaving, so he shouldn't be able to pick anybody. Now they're changing their mind, like, oh, yeah, let him pick. I don't get why they're being so hypocritical about everything. Like, the Republicans they've just lost the complete, whatever you thought about them is out the window. Whatever you thought in the past about what a Republican was, they have no moral, they're just whatever, I don't know. They're just whatever now. So, what do you think see, the thing is, the people that it's going to affect the most, because these are lifetime appointments, are people like you. People like you. These are lifetime appointed nominations. So, whatever laws or whatever they pass, if you want to fight it up to the Supreme Court, this is something that's going to affect your, most of your life. So do you think that your age is engaged in this at all, this topic specifically?
I would say no for the most part. I know just, kind of having a brief, I guess, knowledge, or, prior knowledge of the Supreme Court. I don't know. It's interesting because, I don't know, just coming up now, it's just not, like you said, it's not really that much like engagement,
But do they know what the consequences are? For example, specifically on like the issue of abortion. Do you think that young women your age are engaged in this topic enough to understand that this is going to affect them for years?
Yeah, young women, I believe, will, of course, definitely lean towards, pro-choice and,
So that's what I'm saying. They probably need to get out there and vote and get involved because we need mass amount of people to get involved. What do you think, Jay Black? You think women your age are engaged and they understand what's going on?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, the women my age are damn near 30. They grown as women. So I would hope that they, that I would hope that their mindset is shifted. I would say, not to take away the girls that I went to high school with, but the girls I went to college with, I think they're more focused on things like that. Their mindset is really kind of, open to having those.
I think that when I was your age, I agree with both of you. I think more people were. That was more of an issue for people your age. Of course, when you get older, sometimes you change. Like, you might have been pro-choice as a younger person, and then when you get older, you're just like, I just don't think people should be able to do that.
Yeah, I think also, too, like, we can't really ignore the racial dynamic behind it because, more and more you see non-white people, Hispanics, blacks, slowly becoming, or rapidly even, becoming a majority in this country. So when you kind of peel back and look at the racial element behind it, you may have, like you said, conservatives are synonymous with, anti-abortion. Well, if those are majority white people and they're becoming a minority in quote unquote their own country, wouldn't they, kind of want more births to kind of boost those numbers? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that racial element kind of underlying as well.
So, you were asking before which Supreme Court justices were on what side of the aisle politically.
Right.
So John Roberts Jr. and Brett Kavanaugh are confidential voters, so they don't tell. You're not supposed to, I don't think, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Eleanor Kagan, and registered Democrats, so they were registered as Democrats. So yes, that's the answer to your question.
Okay.
Sonia Sotomayor, she didn't enroll in any party. Neil Gorsuch was a Republican, and then he moved to D.C. to join the court. So that's just a little bit of what they were about. But this is something that people, we can't let this happen. It's going to change the whole, everything people worked for, is going to go out the window. Like, for real. We have to start all over again, like civil rights. Them not being able to, because they rolled everything into the civil rights bills, like sexual orientation, all that stuff. Like, all that stuff is rolled into color, race, religion. Like, it's all rolled up into everything. So if they start cutting that stuff out, we're going to lose a lot of things that we worked so hard for.
So as the people, what can we do about this? Because it sounds like we have nothing, we can't do anything about it. So like, it's me, like, I understand it might get to a point to where stuff start getting messed up, but
this is what you asked for?
No, we can't do anything about this. From the way you just explained it, it's an appointed job. It's an appointed position.
Well, what we can do is vote for whoever. I'm not going to say who to vote for, but because the president, he's going to try to appoint somebody. when it's time to say, they still have to vote on whether he should appoint somebody. So there's some time. Like,
So
some of the
that's what I'm
Republicans might vote against him appointing somebody.
So I feel like right now in this particular conversation, instead of trying to have a victim mentality, like, oh, we're this and this and that, it's gonna be bad.
What can we do?
The election is coming up. Let's just encourage and let's educate
So
people on
I
what to
think
vote
that okay, to your point, there are 23 seats in the Senate that are open to flip. 23 Republican seats. I would try to flip those to Democrat. I would get to the states that, like, for example, Mitch McConnell is up for re-election. You see how...
Are you flipping it to Democrat because you just want to be Democrat, or are we looking into policies and this is the best person for this?
I'm assuming as a person here in Georgia, that's, what I can do in Georgia. I'm assuming when I say what I'm saying that you in your state know what's going on with your people in your local, in your area. So whoever the best person is for your state, whatever party they are in, make sure that person understands that if they vote on this topic the wrong way, how it's going to affect you, how it's going to affect the people in that area.
And again, what's for the people listening? What topic are they specifically looking for as far as when they go
Supreme Court nomination.
on the ballot? That's
right.
what they're looking for, Supreme Court nomination.
You're not going to be able to vote for that specifically. You have to vote for the person that is going to represent your views. That's what their job is. Their job is to represent the majority of the people in the district, their constituency. They are supposed to, when they say call your local government office, call your local senator, call your local congress people, do shit like that. Like, call your local congressperson and be like, listen. Call your local senator. Be like, listen, I know you're up for re-election, but we need to make sure that you understand that if you vote to let the president appoint somebody, it's going to affect blah, 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 blah.
How effective do you feel that's going to be? Because, and the reason I ask that is because we go through this same thing. We're going through the same thing right now with our politicians. We got these demands and they're not being met. So how can we expect that, oh, I'm going to just call this person
But some of them
tell
are.
this is what I want and it's going to change?
Some of them are being met. Look at how the no-knock raids warrants and the no-knock...
And that was in response to Breonna Taylor's
right,
thing.
like...
But I feel like also, what role do you feel like protesting and actually giving them some sort of repercussion as well that was actually, like a tangible repercussion? What part do you think that played in the ultimate
how
decision?
everybody got on the internet and was like, well, we won't vote for you? You can do that.
I mean, you also had people like in the streets as well. I feel like that kind of tips the scale more so, because I feel like the people we're up against, when we look at systematic white supremacy as a whole, I feel like they don't understand nothing but direct violence. That's what they come from. So I feel like kind of passive aggressive, or I feel like they just don't respond to that. I feel like that's not as initial. And also, even going back to the civil rights movement, I feel like there's not as much light shed on the people that was really out there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of what the mainstream media pushes is, sort of the nonviolent kind of, model minority type of approach when it comes to,
Yeah.
all groups of people. But I feel like when it comes to us, I would ask you, how important do you think it is to withhold a vote as well, in terms of getting your demands met?
I don't think that withholding the vote is so much of an issue as saying I will vote for somebody else. Like, not voting is so ineffective. Like, what is that going to do? Like, there will be a vote, someone will be elected, and you will be under whatever they put forth to be a law. Like, you not voting is not going to make you exempt from whatever goes on. You feel me? Like, just like, okay, you didn't get to march, but because they changed the law, because people were marching, you're still going to be affected by that law, good or bad.
And I want to say another thing, like in regards to voting, I feel like people got to start looking at, like, you're not going to find a perfect candidate. You're not going to find a candidate that checks off everything that you want. But at the same time, you have to find a candidate that checks off. Basically, it's compare these two and look at, and just put the check boxes next to each other and find a candidate that checks out the most for you.
Absolutely.
Biden might not be the perfect candidate. He might have some bullshit in his past. But think about what you want as a citizen of the United States, and compare these two candidates. We have two presidential candidates. I'm just speaking on the presidents right now. Compare those two and see, just see which one benefits you the best, instead of saying you're not gonna vote. Because I agree with you, Kim. Like, at the end of the day, the election is gonna go on with or without you. And especially if you're a person out here complaining about the president and what's going on, like, you got to play your role.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that could be the lesser of two evil mindsets, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be doing that regardless. Like, it's always gonna be the lesser of two evils or whatever. I'm just saying.
I mean, until we get to the point where we feel confident enough in a candidate from the street, a candidate from, and when I say from the street, I mean somebody that is more relatable to the most people. You can't cater to the 1% and think, oh, okay, well, I'm good. And that, to me, we've come so far down the line of how low we can go, to the point where these people are running their campaign off of conspiracy theories.
I feel like also, interestingly enough, I know you say pick the candidate that most accurately, I guess, reflects the majority of the people, but
No. I say that
like
reflects you. Like, at the end of the day, you can't control how other people vote. But if you are going in there to vote, study the candidate, look at the policies, and pick the candidate that checks off the most boxes for you, instead of just picking anybody or just not voting, if you decide to vote.
Yeah, I know, but Kymmy, I know more, she was, I guess, referring to the 1%, that's kind of what I was referring to.
Yeah, well, that's where all the money is, but
yeah,
you could come up with money like grassroots people, like Obama did, raising money.
Yeah, I know, but I was more so referring to, I just feel like every group kind of has their own distinct set of requirements or demands. Like, Asian won't, I guess, be as vocal or as brash about police brutality as we would be. Or white people or Anglo, wouldn't be as vocal about immigration as Hispanics would be.
Right, yeah.
So what do you feel like, how do you feel like interests are concerned as it pertains to specific groups? Do you feel like, even though there may be a majority, do you feel like there are certain demands that we as black people have independent of other people that have to be met specifically for us?
Well, we have to get to the point where they're culturally attuned enough to know that there are different groups of black people. I don't think that it's up to us to always have to,
I guess, like, singularly, like,
I think there are issues that affect us totally that would not affect, say, someone that immigrated here from another country where the people are brown like me.
Right.
Absolutely. Do people that try to marginalize people that look like me and, try to put us in this box because their minds aren't open enough not to decompartmentalize people? I don't think so. I think they just see black people. Or the more racist you are, the smaller the box gets. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you're Spanish, you're Mexican, you're Puerto Rican. I don't care. You're brown. You know what I mean? Like, you're black, you're African American, you're from Jamaica, you're from, like, I don't care. You're all black.
Right, basically just non-white. You're all non-white.
Right. You're just not.
You're non-white.
You're just not white. So go over there. I think that, too, like, after 9/11, the issue was Muslims.
Right.
And people were running, ever since then, people were running on that fear. So I don't know, the fear mongering and stuff like that. Also, Man, I wanted to get on to something else because we could talk about that all day. We'll continue that conversation because, we only, 40-something days from the election? 40-something days.
What's the dates? When does early voting start? All that. What's all those key dates?
You can register to vote.
Yeah, when is the last day to register? Like
October
5th?
5th.
Oh, 5th? The 5th?
In Georgia, the early voting starts October 12th.
Okay.
And it's over on October 30th. Don't forget to bring a photo ID.
And the early voting, that's you can use State Farm Arena or the Fulton County people.
If you live, I think so. I don't live in Fulton, so we don't have any cool. Well, we do have cool places like that. We have the baseball stadium, but I don't
think the baseball stadium is open, is it?
No, they didn't offer it. I think the NBA was, but this is their initiative. So
I thought I saw something like the NFL teams, or they opened up their stadiums as well.
Yeah, I know NBA. I believe 2/3, like 20 out of the 30 franchises, are actually opening their arenas for, I guess, voting.
Oh yeah, some NFL teams are turning their stadiums into voting locations. Okay, you right. Over 1,200 polling places in American South were closed from 2013 to 2019. The 2020 Georgia primary election saw lines of voters so long polling places stayed open well past. So on Friday, the NBA and the NBA Players Association, this has to be from a while ago because we already knew that. But they're saying NFL teams are on board too, which is super duper cool. Bring your kids.
Oh, definitely. Speaking of kids, I guess what were your thoughts on earlier this week, Donald Trump's executive order to, I guess, teach patriotism in schools?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
On that?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was in response to the 1619 project. Do you guys know what that is?
Right. I believe it was was it 1619?
Is it heat on? Yeah. Why does it feel like the heat is on? Let me just rattle off a couple of these teams from the NFL that are participating in this. The Chiefs, I guess they won the Super Bowl. Is that true? They're
Yes.
planning to turn Arrowhead Stadium into voting location in November. Patrick Mahomes, Tyrann Mathieu. What's his Matthew?
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I don't watch football, y'all. Okay, they're going to take part in the local voter registration efforts. So that's one. Arrowhead Stadium. So far, that's the only one. Seattle Seahawks. So they've already worked with King County Elections to make CenturyLink Field an official voting center. Okay, Seahawks. Lucas Oil Stadium, the Indianapolis Colts. They're trying to make things easier for voters, too. Okay, well, I mean, that's just a few. Look up and see if your local team is going to do that. Just go wherever they're going to be at or vote by mail, whichever is easier for you, as long as you vote. Comprende?
Got you.
All right, now what were you saying? So, yeah, do you guys know what the 1619 project is?
I'm not familiar with it. What is it?
Okay, so the 1619 project, let me get an official, because, I'll rattle off what I think it is, and then somebody will be like, that's not what it is. The New York Times put together in conjunction with, what is her name? I could see her in my head with her pretty curly hair. The 1619 project is an ongoing project developed by the New York Times Magazine in 2019, which aims to reframe the country's history by placing the consequences of slavery and the contribution of Black Americans in the very center of a national narrative. The woman that I was thinking of earlier, her name is Nicole Hannah Jones, Leslie M. Harris, another person involved in that project. It was it's a challenge, they said, to reframe. So basically, it's telling you American history, and it's injecting slavery into it, so you can tell what contributions Black people have made to.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like this is just basically, this comes down to controlling the narrative. That's really what it's all about. You know, if you, it's just interesting about, you know, whose story wants to be told, basically. You know, like, I guess Trump's thing is like, okay, this is U.S. history. Well, you know, U.S. history to who? You know, all history is not, you know, the same to everyone. Everybody kind of has different experiences and, you know, reactions and lingering effects that still go on to this day. So, you know, that's
Right. Well, see, for me, like I always say, at the core of racism is ignorance, right? It's easier for you to just say, you know, whatever to something that you don't understand. So this kind of aims at bridging that gap, and I think it's great. I read part of it. I started reading it. I haven't finished reading it. There are some parts of it I have read. But the controversy behind it is now President Trump is weighing in on the 1619 Project because people have spoken out against it. So people, you know, he's on Twitter all the time. So since there's been so much internet chatter going back and forth about the 1619 Project, somebody went and wrote a counter project called the 17, what's the name of it? 1776.
That was the Declaration of Independence.
1776 Unites, I guess. I don't know. There's a counter project, and so he's saying that if anybody adds the 1619 Project to their curriculum at their school, he's going to cut off funding for that school.
Oh,
They
really?
don't want it taught in school.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's interesting too, is like there's always an incentive behind it. Like going back to the prison industrial complex, like there were financial incentives for states to, you know, build more prisons and really ramp up what was already a, you know, unjust system, you know, just take it to another level. So that's the thing. I feel like there's always like incentives to do their bidding, whereas us, it's kind of more so we're in a position where, I don't know, it's just we're able to get our point across, but it's not consequential, you know? Like that's consequential. Like, okay, you get this for doing this, you know? So it's
So that's why when people say we need to be in the position where we have more leverage.
Most certainly.
So the 1619 Project, he's saying that it's wrong. It reframes the history. He's going to create a 1776 commission to reinstate patriotism. Like, all this shit is so scary. I don't know if people understand the magnitude of what's happening in this country.
I don't know. I mean, it's what is patriotism to you? Like when you hear patriotism?
I mean, I don't even care. Like, dude, you are crazy. Are you serious? Like, you cannot create your own reality. This is what happened. Let the people know so they can make wise decisions. You don't want people to make wise decisions. You want people to know nothing. So you could tell them what you want them to know and try to make them do what you want them to do. It's all about control.
But
that is scary as shit.
Point. That goes back to my point. Like, what's stopping us from teaching our own history?
Teach your kids at
That's
home.
what I'm saying. Like,
but see, the thing is, we teach our kids.
A lot of people, we keep playing victim. Like, we keep taking, like, I think for so long we done got so used to taking what's been given to us and just making the best out of it. Like, that mentality, that's a generational curse. Like, that mentality has been passed down from generation to generation. Of course, we going to their schools, so they're gonna teach us what they want. Like,
well, this is what happened.
If we had black schools, I'm sure we control the curriculum. And if a white kid came to a black school, he's going to be learning about black history.
So here's the thing. That is what was happening. And once we were made aware of that and what it was doing to our kids, we started teaching our own kids. We started having community out, like in the 60s, right? They started all this black power, teaching black kids how to be. Yeah. The Black Panthers weren't like a bunch of people that was just out on some rah-rah shit. They actually had like a food program. They taught kids about black history. They taught self-defense. They had a temple. Yes. So it's like We did that. We do it all the time. We start over.
Continue to do it though. That's the thing. Like we can't just say, "Oh, we did that." Let's build on it. Let's continue to do it. Okay, it may have been knocked out, but the blueprint is there. Stop complaining and let's build on this blueprint. The Black Panthers they made this blueprint. The people in Tulsa, the Black Wall Street, they made a blueprint. Let's stop playing victim and saying, "Oh, they did this, they took this." It's messed up for black people. We understand that. What are we gonna do? Keep complaining about it being messed up, or are we gonna be proactive and make a difference? Like
my
we
point
see
for
they're
saying,
not playing fair.
yeah,
They're protecting their own, so why
right.
not protect our own?
Yeah,
That's my
absolutely.
thing.
My point for saying we've done that is to prove that we can do it. You know what I mean? Like my point for saying that it's been done already. Like we have to do that. But see, here's the thing. You know how we love to say that black people are not monolithic and we all are different and da 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 da. We all are different. We all are different. But we have to find some common ground and come together.
We all different, but we got the same struggle. So just like you said, we have to figure this out. Like we all are different.
We have
but
to
we
figure
all
it out
experience
amongst
the same
ourselves. You don't need to get applause from the other people because you're not agreeing with the people that are in, you know what I mean? Like, we can't let somebody that might have a different approach, like, you might be really religious black person. You understand that within the black community, there's ultra conservatives. Maybe in the black community, they're older, some are younger. They don't believe in abortion. They don't believe in this. They don't believe in that. They don't believe in gay marriage. So the only reason why they are voting for Republicans is because they feel like they get that.
They feel like those people fit them. And that's why I say, like, they looking at these people, the black people that vote for Republicans, I can't be mad at them. They look at those people and they check off the
They
most
have
boxes
the
for
right.
them. I'm not mad at that. Like, at the end of the day, you just have to vote for who checks off the most boxes.
We got to have somebody that is willing to see things from all angles. What were we talking about? Oh, the 1619s. Okay, so everything the 1619 Project has taught people, they don't want you to know. Why don't you think they want you to know?
I mean,
what's bad about knowing that? What is bad about what's the problem?
I mean, well, this just dates back. I mean, centuries, even Africa, ancient Egypt, ancient African civilizations. You had the Mali Empire. You know, Mansa Musa. You had you've just had we have such a rich history, and it's necessary to, I guess, hide it, for lack of a better word, just so you have a certain perception of yourself. I saw somewhere recently where, you know, in slavery, you know, of course, after you had the initial, you know, slaves that you brought in from Africa, as well as, you know, the ones that were already here, the black people that were indigenous to this land that eventually got reclassified as black, you know. It's interesting because what they would tell them, you know, you would have, I guess, you know, slaves that were, you know, later on down the line, and they would say, you know, where am I from? And their master would say, oh, you're from right here, you know. So it's like, you have no history, you have no, that's just the narrative, and that's just been what it's been. So if you think, okay, well, I'm just here from this plantation, this is all I'm destined to be. So you know, I feel like that's why it's always been a big part of just their system as a whole is framing the narrative for you.
Do you guys all agree that we're still dealing with the effects that slavery had on this country?
Most definitely. I mean, you could just look even down to just the practices, just the priorities. I mean, definitely. I mean, it's just what slavery did is it just made black people, no matter how old you are, no matter how intelligent, your status was basically in the position of a child, where you had to rely on someone else, you know. And I feel like that kind of plagues us to this day. Even when it comes to taking initiative to certain things, it's like not as pronounced. You know, we don't really see it as just imperative as other groups do. And I feel like that can be definitely attributed to slavery.
Well, I think they should continue to teach it. And if they don't want to teach it to your kids at home or read it yourself. And another thing I think you should do to back up that reading is do your own history for your own family. And that will empower you. Like, know your place in the history.
I think now more than ever, like, this is the best time because everybody's, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are homeschooling right now. So basically, the parents are really the teachers.
Perfect.
So they can really incorporate their own curriculum in a sense. Like, it don't even have to be nothing crazy. It can be once a day, I'm giving my kid a fact about Black history, just to spoon feed them.
Or on the day.
Because I feel like, would it been like, what is, I guess the Black history not being taught for so long, you don't want to just overload people with it. That's just spoon feed here. Bam. Just like with Black History Month, like, you know, people are, they putting all this information out, like, why can't we do this all year long? Like,
right.
And I'm including myself, like, why am I not putting these facts out? Like, these people didn't just invent stuff in February. Like, we didn't get these facts. These facts don't just come out in February. This is available to us all year long, like all the time. So I think just us as people, we have to do a better job. Like, we have the internet, we have the platforms. When there's some police brutality shit, we able to make that spread. When there's some negative, oh shit, I messed up. Why not, you know, make everything, like, make the good news spread as well instead of all the negative
Well,
things.
once in a while, you'll send me post something, and I think a good page to follow is Black History in 2 minutes or less. Once in a while, you'll see me post something on CTD_ATL on Instagram that highlights something that happened in history that I think is imperative that everybody knows, right? So I will follow that page. That's something that you could quick show your kids, quick something you learn for yourself. Everybody's attention span is so short now. Something like that, you know, will spark something in your mind that go do your own research behind that.
And I think, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
I think too, a lot of people are discouraged to post stuff like that because it don't get the engagement.
Yeah.
You might get like 2 likes.
Yeah, nobody ever likes
time,
stuff like that.
If you think about anything, even building a business, at the beginning, people don't support it, but the more that they see it, the more that they start seeing value in it, the more that they start learning and be like, oh, okay, it's gonna be something that catch them eventually.
Something will catch you eventually.
The consistency of seeing it, the consistency of seeing, oh, they're giving this fact. Oh, I didn't know a Black person did this. Oh, I didn't know this about the Black man.
Or even your place.
Even at the same time, like, people might not be engaging in it, but I guarantee you, when they get around their friends, they had different conversations. They gonna bring up something that they saw without even realizing, oh, I saw this on this page, but I read something in a book before. I forgot what book I was reading, but I think it was a book called Contagious. And it was talking about, one of the topics was social currency. And when it comes to small talk, like, people talk about relevant event, current news, so everybody wants to look smart. So they gonna bring up, oh, politics. They gonna bring up, maybe sports, and they talk about sports, they talk about stats. So you wanna be knowledgeable on all subjects. Mm-hmm. And I think putting that knowledge out there, even if people don't engage in it, they're subconsciously consuming that information, and they're gonna use it in their conversations with, in their daily lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just gotta put it out there. You gotta spoon feed people.
I mean, I don't necessarily think, we need more. We definitely need more voters. I think the people that are registered to vote should vote. I think we need more educated voters too. We need more people that know what they're voting for the issue, not for the political party, not for what they think they know. Like, really, really look into this stuff.
And two, I feel like us as a people, we have to stop discouraging people that are not as educated. Like, it's just like, man, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, man, just let people learn, let people bump their heads. Like, let people make mistakes on this journey.
I don't understand that. I don't understand how you could get into a conversation with somebody on social media and it turn into like this, insulting contest. Like, are you dumb? Like, you must be stupid. Like, no, tell me, facts win arguments. Feelings don't win arguments.
And I feel
If
like-
you feel strongly enough about something and you can't explain it to me with facts that can be proven by a credible source, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. People, because I'm so open with how I feel about stuff, people feel like they gotta tell me different. You know what I mean? Like my inbox full of stuff like, you know, conspiracy theory videos and, well, you know, the woke crowd. We don't follow any political party. We are for ourselves. Okay, selves. If you can build a selves city or a selves state by November 3rd, by any means, please open me up to your logic. But if you can't, what we gonna do? What we got right now? You know what I mean? To get to that point. You know what I mean? Like, we need to get to that point. Somehow, we need to get to the point. And we had a conversation with Brother Reza when he was here last year. He believes that we should have our own state. We should have our own part of the country. Some people haven't gotten to the point where they think that we should be resegregated. Some people think we should.
I think it's interesting too, because I kind of listen and follow the works of Neely Fuller Jr. and I know he kind of refers to it as VGQ, Victims Guaranteed Qualification. So that's, you know, we live in a system of white supremacy, which is, you know, systematic racism, you know, and his ideology is basically any victim of racism is qualified to basically give their stance on their victimization. So kind of to avoid any arguments or, you know, just any conflict in general, I mean, basically anybody can say what he or she wants to say about their victimization, you know, how they see it. I mean, I feel like it really does us no good. I mean, we're both, you know, victims. We're kind of both in the same boat. So anybody can really say.
Right, so what are we talking about?
Yeah, anybody can say what they want to about their victimization. That's their experience.
But the thing is, what we see happening from the other side is them trying to silence that. Like, we don't care what you think. We don't care what you feel. Like, shut up. Don't march. Don't complain. Like, just take it. Yeah. And that's what I feel like we see people doing. But we got so many other things to go over, so I don't want to get too far into so many things. So one of the other topics I wanted to discuss was Corona. I mean, I don't want what's going on now with the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg to overshadow, which I'm sure it will, but y'all, Corona is still out here.
I've been hearing, I know of course we had Tita Simmons on earlier this year, and we getting closer to the end of the year, and
yes.
They were saying like around this time is where we gonna start seeing vaccines. I've been hearing a lot about that. Like, what's the update on that?
Yeah, so my friend Tita, she was on and she was talking about the trials that were going on and how close we could get. A lot of companies are in the third stage of their vaccine. We've seen other countries say that they have a vaccine. AstraZeneca, they were pretty far into their testing, the trial testing, and someone got sick. They got like a spinal infection or something like that, so they stopped it. But that's just one person. So out of all the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 6,000 people, one person got sick, so they stopped it because they don't want more people. So guys, what are we gonna do? I mean, coronavirus is here, this novel virus. It's out here.
Honestly, I think, ask me that question after the election. Ask me that question after January when, you know,
we know what's going on.
Everything. I ain't one of them conspiracy theorists, but just ask me that question after the election.
So
I can give you a better answer after the. I want to see how coronavirus, how it lingers on, and what happens after the election with coronavirus.
So, what do you guys think, though? I mean, what do you feel about coronavirus? Gen Z. You are representing Gen Z right now, so tell me what Gen Z is talking about coronavirus.
No, as it pertains to the vaccine, more so? I
mean, just like, is it a thing? Do y'all worry about it? Are y'all precautious still? You over it? You don't care? We get it?
I think I was telling Jay Black this one time, but I just believe that people eventually get accustomed to a certain
way of life.
standard or a certain way of life. So eventually, like March, April's like, oh, like quarantine, da da da. And now it's kind of more, you just become desensitized.
So now
to
you know to wear your mask, kind of
Yeah, I
move
feel like-
different.
yeah.
You're not like, I'm staying in my house and I'm locking myself off. You're moving a little bit smarter is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically, I feel like that's just human nature. Like, if you're faced with a certain circumstance for long enough, you just adapt. You just grow accustomed to it. So I feel like we know the procedure. We kind of know the routine as far as, preventing yourself from, contracting it. So
What about you? You good? So the coronavirus is here. We just heard from Gen Z. They're used to it now. They're just moving a little bit differently. The president, I don't know if we've had our conversation about this yet before, but he's gone on record now. Oh yeah, we did. We talked about that, saying that he.
That was before. I was off camera, I think.
That was off camera.
That was right before we started the herd immunity.
He's been on record saying that he, number one, played down the virus.
Oh, yeah. I think we talked about that last week. We did talk about that.
He played down the virus, so it was way worse than he said it was going to be. I live in Georgia. The governor here said months ago he knew it was airborne. You guys remember that? And we were like, oh, you just found that out?
Oh, yeah.
And not to mention the fact that he was the first one to tell those passengers on that cruise ship, hey, come to Georgia. We'll host you coronavirus people stuck on a boat out in the middle of the ocean. Come to Georgia. Then he was also the same person that opened Georgia up first. So me being down here in Georgia, I'm screaming SOS, y'all. We need to slow down. You know what I'm saying? And I'm seeing the governor of New York, like, we're not opening anything until we get these numbers down. And they did the damn thing. So I feel some kind of way because he put all of our lives on the line. I'm sorry. Trump did it. Kemp did it. So now the virus is here, right? 5G. It's not a virus. It's fake. It's the telephone towers. And that's why we're getting sick. We had to get rid of that crowd. That crowd, I don't know how they went away so fast. I don't know what happened to them. They're gone. I don't see that anymore. Then we had it's just the flu. Then we had, it took months for people to get used to it. So now people are wearing their masks. They're understanding. Some people are still fighting and whatever. It's here. You don't want to wear a mask. You don't want to social distance. You don't want to stop nothing. You want to do everything. You don't want a vaccine. How are we going to stop it?
But to your point, though, to what you talking about, that's a narrative about the people. Because honestly, I'm seeing people wear masks. Like, a lot of people are. Well,
no, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the people that are like that. There are a certain amount of people.
That's a small percentage.
Okay.
That's literally a small percent. Like, it's the club people. And then you got, what I see, it's them older white men. It's a lot of older white men. Like, I was on the elevator the other day. It was me and 3 other people. It was 2 ladies, 2 older white ladies, and a white man. He was the only one that didn't have a mask on, and he didn't look like he gave a fuck either. But I think that's a narrative. Like, what's one thing I say about social media, man? Like, social media is so powerful.
Yeah, because they only put those people on camera, the ones that are fighting.
You would think that, oh, people's not following. Like I told you, when I went to Ohio, everybody had a mask on. When you go to Ohio, everything shuts down at 10 o'clock. They don't sell liquor after 10 o'clock, nothing. Like, so those, again, it's just narratives. It's narratives that's being pushed that people are not taking this seriously.
But we live in Georgia, and we don't have people that aren't.
But when I don't really go to the club. So
me either.
When I go to the grocery store, everybody has a mask on because it's required. When I'm out, I see everybody with masks on. I see more people with masks on than I don't. So I think we just gotta, we gotta stop pushing that narrative and stop believing that narrative. And we gotta. I'm glad
that y'all are. So what about like the barbershop, the nail place? Y'all good? Y'all going to those places?
They don't wear masks.
They don't?
Nah, they don't wear masks.
See what I'm saying?
Not down here anyway.
Wow. So according to the stats, if you can go to the Georgia Department of Health website, they have the stats on there, right? So Georgia right now, we have 305,000 confirmed, 6,599 deaths, 27,000 hospitalizations, 4,500 992 hospitalizations. But guess what? The people that are getting it now, I'm going to show you the demographics. I know it's not going to be, I'll read to you what you want to know. What sticks out to you the most? The one that fought is the most is age 18 to 29. So those are the people, and under them is 30 to 39. So I'm assuming that that's the club people, right?
Most likely.
Those are the most active. That's the most active age.
Here are the deaths.
What's the tallest one?
The tallest one is 80 and older. And here's the race and ethnicity of people that have tested that are testing positive.
And what is that sign to?
This is African American. This is white.
And the blue is male and the red is women? Or?
Yeah. So white men, to your point on your elevator, are the ones that are getting it the most now. It's different. White, 108,909 confirmed cases.
I think I saw a video. Did you post a video? I think it was a group of people in Target, and they just had they was basically against the.
I mean, they just want to be oppressed so bad. Like y'all want a struggle. Yeah.
We're not wearing our masks or something crazy.
Yeah,
like
they just
that.
wanted a struggle. Like, I want a struggle. So masks is my struggle. You've even seen some Republican leadership saying wearing a mask is like slavery. Like, they are bugging. Like, y'all want a struggle so bad.
Yeah, and I think also, like, with coronavirus, it kind of makes everyone equal to a certain extent. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. There's no color. There's no, like,
Yeah, so,
you
I mean,
need to all be respectful of each other. I've gone on this camera every week since this shit started. I'm like, put your fucking mask on. Where's the problem? Like, you don't have to wear it around your house. When you're out and you're around people, protect each other.
I mean,
With me wearing mine, I'm protecting you. You wearing yours, you're protecting me. That's what it's about.
I mean, but that just feeds into, like, the white supremacist mindset where it's just like, you have to.
You can't oppress me in any kind of way, shape, sort, whatever.
Not even that. It's just like, I'm not equal to, they have to wear masks.
I don't.
I'm white.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's getting you in trouble in Georgia,
Yeah,
apparently.
but
It's just like stop signs. Okay, I don't want to stop at the stop sign. It's stopping me from going my speed because I drive a stick and I don't want to clutch down for this stop sign. But if I run through it, it's for you and me. Like, put the damn mask on. If the quicker people realize the mask is needed, the quicker we'll get over it. Back to my point. The vaccines are coming out. Everybody is like, I'm not getting it. Fine. But if you're not getting it, do not discourage other people from getting it because somebody got to get it. You know what I'm saying? The more people that get it, the less people will have to get it. Ask me next week. Let that go through your mind. It doesn't make sense to you right now. Maybe it'll make sense to you later. If you all get it, they don't have to get it. But this herd immunity experiment that they've thrown us all into, no, that's not the way it's supposed. They literally threw us all into a herd immunity experiment. Let's just see who gets it. Whoever makes it, makes it. And I don't like that. To save the economy, which you keep having to shut stuff down anyway. Like, you open up, right? Everybody gets COVID. You got to shut down. You got to open up. To me, that will hurt the economy more. And then now the NFL, you guys' favorite, allegedly, none of them have it. They tested everybody. Nobody has it. You believe that?
I don't.
Now, 5 months from now, when we hear that 7 people in the NFL had coronavirus, I don't want to hear it. Because they didn't have to start playing football. They're trying to make people forget. They're trying to rock you back to sleep so that you don't pay attention to any of this stuff. If one of those NFL players gets coronavirus, you think they're going to tell you?
I mean, well.
And then they're opening it back up for people. Not all, and I salute every organization that is still not allowing fans in. Do not let fans in. But then you go to Dallas.
Yeah, I know this is kind of a states thing as to,
Yeah, it's
what
definitely a
percentage of
states
fans.
thing.
Let me ask you this on the flip side. So say if your job closed, no coronavirus, no unemployment, nothing, like what would you do? How would you handle that?
If my job closed,
Like you weren't getting any income.
I don't know.
So, and that's why, like, I can understand. Like, I'm not like saying that it's okay that they're opening up their stadiums, but this is how these owners make a living. Yeah, they got a lot of money, but I'm sure they got a lot of bills too. Like, because those bills are still coming. Like, we noticed even when the shit shut down, they didn't stop the bills. Like, they just put it on hold. So
right.
these bills are piling up. Like, so
okay.
they have to do something.
Okay, so
and I respect that. Like, I understand that it might not be the right thing, but at the end of the day, we playing this capitalism game. We all in this game if you want to be in it or not. So you have to play, or you're going to get ran over.
Okay, so if we thought like that, we should have thought way better. We should have thought more strategically. If you want all this stuff to happen in the fall, then while everything is shut down, like school in the summer, shut this shit down in the summer. We did not shut down long enough. If you wanted to prepare for fall, you should have shut down in the summer.
But again, to their point, devil's advocate, to their point, to these owners' point, they don't have the power to tell people to continue to be shut down. Like, that was, again, we saw the lack of leadership from Trump. And they're just, adjusting to that. Like, because I'm sure they should, I feel like, obviously, from what they're saying, from what they're reporting, the narrative that they're putting out, they took the proper precautions to make sure that this doesn't spread, in these NFL stadiums. So, obviously, they did their part from what's being put out.
Well, 200,000 people are dead.
But, again, like I say, talking about the NFL, from their narrative, 0 people has got it.
If they ever did get it, we don't even know what the implications are. Like, some people are getting it, they get over it. Some people have long-lasting health effects. Like, Mayor Keisha, she went on record saying that, even though they've gotten over coronavirus, her husband still wakes up with migraines every day. So we got to be careful. As far as the vaccines go, there are 150 coronavirus vaccines in development across the world. Hopes are high to bring one to market in record time. Operation Warp Speed is what Trump implemented to try to get a vaccine. People have pledged. Operation Warp Speed, which is the government's initiative to get vaccines out, put $10 billion out and to pay for it. People don't trust this guy though. So are they going to get the vaccine? Like, if it was anybody else, I don't know. I'm not one to get vaccines. I don't like them. I don't get the flu vaccine. I don't get any of that. But has your mind changed now? I don't know. A lot of black leaders are saying don't get the vaccine. But what is the difference between this vaccine and all the other prescription medication that people are on?
But I feel like as it pertains to us, we have a very legitimate claim.
Absolutely, because we've been used in experimental procedures by the government before. So we have every. But if they don't, what they started doing when they were doing this? They were using like these seniors. There are so many sacrificial lambs in this thing with this virus. In the beginning, they were using hydrochloroquine on people without them knowing it. In the beginning, they were doing ventilators on people, which then they found out later ventilators might be killing you. Then they were trying the blood plasma. Like, there are going to be some people that have to, what are we going to do? But every single drug has a trial. If you watch the episode that we had Tita Jeter on here, Tita Simmons, she'll tell you the process that every drug goes to. And they need volunteers and they need people. Every single drug goes through this. Every single drug, guess what? Every single drug has a side effect.
Oh, and I guess just going back to the vaccine, I recently read up on this book, Medical Apartheid, and that basically dates back to, the medical procedures and basically just can't really find the word right now, but just the basically malpractice.
Yeah.
Even dating back to slavery. So I feel like as it pertains to us, with us being kind of superstitious or cautious as it regards to the vaccine, I feel like that's a very legitimate claim.
Absolutely.
I think it all goes to doing research. Understand, like, because a lot of people, they they against the vaccine. I'm not particularly with the vaccine.
No.
I don't really even take like medicine for anything.
Yeah.
I
I'm
try
like
to
that
just,
too.
like,
Right.
naturally heal
I don't
as
trust
much as
none
I
of it.
can.
That's what I'm saying.
But
I
I
don't
feel
trust
like
none of it.
people first let's study the vaccine. Know what you're taking. That's something that I know I don't do, and I know a lot of people don't do. They just kind of like trust the doctor.
Right.
And secondly, you know, I guess know your body, like, know. I guess.
But you don't know until you do it, and that's the thing.
No. I'm saying as far as like
If you're allergic to something else.
you're allergic to something, or just know your health, like in general. Know your health and know what makes your body do this and do that, and how your body responds to different things. It's just basically you got to do the research. We got to do the extra work. If you feel you want to take this vaccine, I just feel like take the proper precautions. I don't want to discourage anybody from taking it. Just do your research. Know what you're getting into. Know what the side effects are. Just kind of be prepared.
So
for it.
instead of taking the information that they were putting out there for the pharmaceutical companies that were running trials, everybody just ran to the stock market and bet the stock of the person that was going to come out with the best vaccine the fastest, instead of doing what you said do. I don't really hear many people talk about that. I don't hear many people talk about, well, what's in it. Some vaccines use baby tissue, baby fetus tissue. So some people are against the vaccine because for their own reasons, like, either religious reasons or something like that. And so that's why they're not getting it. Okay, so there's a vaccine that uses something else. You know what I mean? Like, know what's in it. Like you said, know what's in it. Moderna has one. They're close to getting they're a candidate that's close to getting it. They started their third phase of their clinical trials in July. They're monitoring phase 2 results. Pfizer has one out there. They are in phase 3 and phase 2. The University of Oxford, they have one out there. They're making one too, and they are in phase 2. Sinovac, the name of their vaccine is Coronavac. That's a Chinese biopharmaceutical company. They have Coronavac, and in July they were in phase 3. There's a bunch of them. So like you said, go research it, find out what's in it. You know how when you're watching TV and all these commercials come on, and Bluevac, Shalalagan, Swabudity, da-da-da-da, all these, and it says ask your doctor. Like, do you know about that shit? Do you know when they are prescribing that medicine, what went behind, what's in it? You go to the doctor and you trust the doctor to know what's best for you. So why is this commercial saying ask your doctor? Why am I asking my doctor anything? They went to school, not me. I didn't go to medical school. I don't get this country and the way they handle pharmaceuticals. But again, it's capitalism that's all about making money. Do your research. Somebody's going to have to get this vaccine. It's here. If we ever want to get to any sense of normalcy or back to the life we used to know, then somebody's going to have to get the vaccine.
I'm going to be honest with you. I like wearing a mask.
Now you do.
I never was against it.
What are the advantages in your opinion?
It's just cool. It's comfortable. Like, it's just because I know my face sometimes. I be making facial expressions when people say stupid shit.
You can kind of hide it.
Yeah. And it's just, like I say, it's comfortable. I just feel incognito when I got the mask on.
Yeah, as you can see, he's never volunteered to come up in front of the camera. He likes being incognito. So, just do your research on any medicine, on any doctor, or anything like that. I know we're running out of time, but real quick, another topic that we're going to talk about real quick. Breonna Taylor. Her family had a $12 million settlement. I don't know why people were up in arms about that topic this week on social media, but they have not dropped the criminal case. They're looking to the jury. They're looking to whether or not they're going to indict the police officer as soon as next week. As a matter of fact, Louisville federal buildings are closed for a week.
What's the reason behind it?
Because they are waiting to find out what the state is going to say. The federal officials haven't announced why 2 buildings are closing to the public, but there's anticipation of a possible announcement on the Breonna Taylor investigation. So they're getting ahead of it.
Great. Yeah.
Anybody in Kentucky that's watching this, please vote. Because I'm sick of Mitch McConnell. Sick of him. Florida, I'm sick of DeSantis. And y'all been having too many hurricanes and storms, and I have to see this guy like every couple of weeks on my TV. I'm sick of him. Please get rid of him whenever you get the chance. Mitch McConnell, oh my God, y'all, please. Okay, and then I guess we're going to talk about...
I guess just in reference to the Breonna Taylor settlement, I feel like some of the backlash was justified because previously, just with previous cases, a settlement is usually an indication of, cease. Yeah.
It's an admission of guilt. I believe that.
Or just basically a cease on punishment.
Of charges.
Or charges.
Yeah, like I'll give you this settlement, and part of the settlement, you won't ABC. But that's not what happened to her family. Her family is still...
Yeah, I mean...
Right. Like, thank you. Now I could pay these lawyers because I'm still trying to get your ass up out of here.
Yeah, but even though I still think it can be deemed a bad look just because, well, for one, I feel like there's not a price you could put on one of my loved ones personally. And
I agree.
Also, I feel like even they can say that, okay, we're still pursuing, legal action and, punishment for the officers involved, but you have to admit that the settlement does kind of dissipate that claim to a certain extent.
I agree. In the past, Philando Castile's family had a $3 million settlement. Sandra Bland's family, $1.9 million settlement. Eric Garner's family, $5.9 million settlement. Fort Worth paid $2.2 million in lawsuits against its police in the last 10 years. Botham Jean's family, they couldn't sue. They had to sue the apartments where he was killed.
And you know what's so crazy? I was just about to ask you, did he get a settlement? Because she got convicted. And for him to not get a settlement and her to get convicted, in them other cases, they didn't get convicted and they got settlements.
They settled. Mm-hmm.
It's right. Alton really Sterling's family got $5 million. Corinne Gaines, you remember her? She's the young lady I think was in Baltimore, and she was in this car with her son, and they kept harassing her, and then they came to her house and shot her. $38 million.
And the guy from Cincinnati, I can't think his name, but he had a bunch of kids. Remember the police reached in his car?
Yeah.
They basically gave his kids free scholarships and they gave him a couple $1 million. I went to high school with that dude.
Wow.
No, the police. And the crazy part about it, my little brother, he said he was at home. He was out like at a little wing spot, and he seen dude in there. He seen the cop in there. He said the cop was just in. Well, he wasn't the cop. Yeah, after the fact. This was after the case and all this.
Wow.
He said that he was just walking around like he was regular.
Yeah. Wow. So, just in Corinne Gaines' case, appeals court found that the judge, the judge wiped it out, said that they can't pay $38 million to her family. Well, now they're saying that they can. So it's been going back and forth with this money, with these settlements. The admission of guilt, I believe. Okay, Michael Brown's family, $1.5 million. Tamir Rice's family, he's, to me, I think the youngest out of all these people we've named so far. His family got $6 million. There's no value, but hey, if you guys aren't going to train your police officers, if you're not going to have them, hire people that know, what the fuck they're doing, then we're going to just drain your...
I don't think it comes down to police training at all. I think there was a document published in, I believe, 2005 during the Bush administration that declared that law enforcement has been thoroughly infiltrated by white supremacist groups.
Okay,
so I feel like you're dealing...
I agree. You don't agree? I agree, but until you stop that...
I feel like it's deliberate, though. Like, you're not dealing with people that is just a matter of training. These are people that are race soldiers.
Yeah,
these are
deep down mentally. Like,
yeah.
No training is going to change.
So that would mean that if you, as the head of the police, which is usually what, the mayor, or the police chief, if you are a police chief, that one person, when you see that or when you sense that,
But I think that's the problem. Like, the chief is the leader of, like, he's a part of that agenda.
right.
So it doesn't matter, like, at the end of the day.
So that's what they mean about systematic. Like it starts from, so that's when we have to start infiltrating. And that's why so many police officers quit. Like Atlanta, we experienced that, right? In a lot of these cities, we're seeing people quit. And to me, what they're saying is, hey, if you're not going to let us just kill people when we want to, we just don't want to work here. Fine. Goodbye.
I mean, that's a narrative that you can say. I think, as a devil's advocate, I felt like the police may have felt like they didn't have any
We're above the
protection.
law, you
No,
mean?
they didn't have any protection.
Oh, right.
Because
Like,
it's like, damn, I can't really protect myself. Like, now y'all giving the rights for people to really just disrespect
but what if
us.
these people are unarmed?
I'm just saying as devil's advocate. But we know that there are criminals. There are people that, you know, there's been times that I feel like I was I kind of like agitated or edged on the police with my attitude and stuff
Oh,
like that.
really?
I know I have recently.
Oh,
But-
you didn't tell us about
Yeah,
that.
I did. It was like back in May. I got pulled over.
Again?
I mean, it might have been again, but I got pulled over, and it was for something as minor as a headlight. And this police was being an asshole, so me just naturally, I kind of reciprocated that energy. So I mean,
You find that.
I just feel like, again, like to that point of the police, you know, stepping off saying they're not protected. I don't think it has to do with them wanting to just kill people. I just feel like they have to deal with different energies, different personalities, different things as well. That, you feel me?
But I feel like it boils down to, it's kind of even going down to like the academies and stuff, it's a us versus them mentality. You know, when you put that uniform on, it's like, okay, it's us versus them, the cops versus the civilians, and that's just kind of their outlook on it. And I feel like when it comes down to the racist or white supremacist ideology, there's nothing that can reform that. You're basically saying, okay, let's give them more money to try to correct their behavior. No, the only thing that corrects behavior is punishment. If they see one of them do a life sentence or get serious prison time, that's really the only deterrent from seeing this continue to happen. So until that happens, I mean, we could just expect more of the same, unfortunately. And even going down to the shootings and retaliations, basically in Compton, and there was a police shooting in Tulsa as well. I mean, if the people that are supposed to be held to the highest standard of the law show no regard for it, then why should the civilians, you know? So I feel like it just goes hand in hand, you know, unfortunately.
I guess my question would be, what can we do about it? As like people, both of y'all, like, what can we do?
We
about
are
it?
doing whatever we're doing. We're
No,
marching.
not particularly us, but I'm just saying, like, you was going to, like, what can
I
we
mean,
do about it?
marching,
We know the system is messed-
protesting.
Well, what are we protesting? Like, what? That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, what the protesting is, what, to raise awareness. Like,
No,
what
the
action-
protesting
what-
is we're
what-
out here in these streets causing havoc until you do what
can
we need you to do.
But we still relying on them to do something for us. That's
They're
what
the
I'm
ones that are
saying.
in charge.
Okay, why can't we start our own? Why can't we, like you say, with the Black Panthers, they police the community. The Bloods and Crips police the community.
So
Why can't we do that?
So
Like,
we should.
that's what I'm saying. We always want to play this victim and take what they're giving
So
us.
we should breed, I guess, raise, train, encourage more people to be cops. Is that what you think?
Well, I mean, the fact is we live in a system of white supremacy, you know. So we can definitely take an initiative. I feel like the first step is just to know the threat is there. I feel like too often it's about we kind of, okay, let's cause an uproar and then, okay, let's get back to partying. You know what I'm saying? There's really no sustained effort. But I feel like the first step with anything, whether it's, you know, AA, if you're an alcoholic, the first step is to admit the problem. You have white supremacists in law enforcement. That's just what it is. You live in a system of white supremacy where...
So you think that they haven't even admitted that part?
I mean, It just depends.
When you say we have to, who are you speaking in regards to? The black people or the white?
Oh yeah, I mean, most of all my points are just specifically to black people.
Okay.
I know this is innovative black, so I try to tie everything as it pertains to us, and our interests. But I mean, yeah, like I said, it just comes down to primarily knowing the threat is there, knowing. I don't know what we.
I guess my question would be: is you feel like we don't know the threat is there?
I feel like we do. In our actions, I can say no.
They? Like, who doesn't know?
And that's what I say.
African Americans, black people.
That's a terrible narrative because it's. I can say I'm gonna just speak directly since the George Floyd situation. It's been people protesting every day since then. It's people doing shit behind the scene. I feel like,
and there's still people that are getting.
I mean, yeah, but it's still people that's taking action. So now that's why I keep asking. We keep saying, "Oh, let's protest, let's do." That's not the answer. That's not the answer. Like, we have to dig a little deeper now. Those protests have worked.
So
but I think those protests have reached their peak.
So we're going to go back in a circle because if you're not going to do that, you have to hit them economically. And if you're not going to hit them economically, they're not going to feel or hear it. So when you would be in the...
Stop right there. That's the solution.
But when I say, we were just talking about the NFL, right? When you were saying devil's advocate, blah, 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 but look what the NBA did. Like, they were like, we're not going out, we're not playing, we're not doing none of that until y'all hear what we say, or at least give us the opportunity to say what's happening and how we feel about it.
I mean, I feel like that's PR as well. I mean, people.
But did any of them say they weren't going to play?
But they made the changes. They made the necessary. Yes, they did.
I don't know.
They do the same representation that you see in the NBA is the same. Look at the back of their helmets. They have all messages. Look on those fields. They have those messages. Look.
But I mean,
it takes all of us. Like, they have those that symbolism.
But I don't like the fact that the NBA is like Black Lives Matter and the NFL is like unity. Like, no, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Be upfront. They are trying to racism.
I mean,
that's what the narrative is.
On the Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals field, at the end of their touchdown, it says "end racism."
But I mean, and on the NBA courts, it says Black Lives Matter. I feel like that's just
representation. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like you're really arguing about a distinction without a difference. Like, it's all symbolic. Nothing changes based on shedding light on.
Yeah,
something.
it's all symbolic.
Let's go back to the economic. Like,
yeah, economically.
That's the solution. Now we need to get everybody on board. And I think, again, back to the George Floyd, that push, that started that. I think that, like I said, I think this year protest has been effective. A lot of people won't see that because it's not being pushed on social media. I think it is,
yeah. It has been effective, absolutely.
I was just on a podcast the No Buffer podcast. Shout out to the No Buffer podcast.
Shout out to No Buffer.
I was talking to them. And the one thing they said, it was like, they were saying the same thing about the protests and stuff. I don't see people protesting anymore. But I'm like, it's a protest every day in Atlanta, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't see what's going on, so they like, oh, it's not happening. And that's not true. That's not the best.
It's still happening. And you, as a person, do what you need to do. Like, don't even look for that. If you feel like you want to not do something or donate to something, like, find out what your area is. You know what I mean? You don't have to be out there marching. You could donate to something. You could help somebody out. You could. I just don't think it's time right now that we fall back. I think it's time that we are more aware of what's going on. Yeah. I don't know. I think that the NFL owners and the NFL period have more influence than the NBA as far as politics goes. And like you said, the narrative is being pushed. Their narrative is none of these people have tested for corona. Everything's fine. We need life to be like it used to be, and unity and racism. Like, that's it. That's all we're going to say. Let's just continue on with life the way it's supposed to be. Because they're so influential, that's the narrative that they're pushing. You guys do understand how powerful and how influential the NFL is, right?
Well, I mean,
I don't know if you understand it. Like,
I understand
for us,
completely.
Like,
that's your your thing to get
But
away.
That's what I'm saying. No. That's a platform. Like I've always been saying, like people saying in the NFL, shut the NFL down. It's all these black people. That is a huge platform for us to raise this so-called awareness that everybody wants. Like I'm at the point where I'm past awareness, but everybody wants awareness. You want awareness. You want us to raise awareness. Look at these NFL.
I don't really
fields,
want
like,
to raise awareness. I want effective change. I want you to say, I'm not participating in this anymore. We need to
but
see
how
some
is
changes.
that gonna change anything?
Can I ask a
So
question?
you think that
Go ahead.
go ahead.
So you say you want effective change. I mean, who are you? Basically, it always boils down to this question: like, who are we pleading to? Like, are we just begging white people to be less racist?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So
That's
like,
not gonna happen.
So what are we doing?
That's what I'm saying.
Why are we protesting? Why are we trying to raise awareness to them? It starts with us.
I mean, but that's the thing. It's like when it comes to awareness and symbolic gestures, that's just a con game.
Right.
They know how racism works better than we do. They created it. So
Right.
when it comes to that, like they know how it works. They know when it's about codes. They abide by a code. When they come around black people, okay, there's things you say, there's things you don't say. Financially, there's things you do, there are things you don't do, so that you retain the power. Because, I mean, let's just be honest. Your skin color is a threat to them. Your existence is a threat to them just genetically. We're genetically dominant. They're genetically recessive. So, I mean, we could boil it down to wherever we want to. This is the law of the land, unfortunately. But in our case, we just haven't shown the will. That's all it comes down to. You just have to have the will to get your interests met. Look out for your interests. Say, okay, this is what I want, and just enact them on your own. You know, it's not
Exactly.
it's not begging someone else to treat you better. I mean, if somebody comes and slaps you in the face, like, okay, stop doing. It's like it's all about you. And I feel like we're kind of turning it around. We a long ways away, but I feel like we turning it around
It's
and
coming.
we kind
I don't
of we
think we're
steering
a
it in
long
the
ways
right.
away. I think we're in a great position. I just feel like, again, we live in this Instagram world, this instant world that people want it to happen right away.
Oh yeah.
It's a process. Like I say, this world is completely different. It's a lot better than when Martin Luther King was. It's progressed since then.
Yeah.
It's progressed since then. And another thing is, okay, ma'am. First we complain. Okay, I'm just using NFL because that's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
When Cap kneeled, it wasn't a popular thing, so people crucified the NFL. Oh, they don't care.
Yeah.
Now that the NFL is loosening up, and now they're trying to cater to the narrative. Oh, it's not enough. They're just doing it. So it's like, man, whenever we do get our needs met, we gonna always feel, and this has always been a problem. We're gonna always feel, oh, they're just doing this because. They're doing it because you raised this awareness, because you complained, and they're responding to your complaints, and they're doing what you asked them to do. So to Jared's point, I feel like let's stop trying to seek approval. We trying to seek approval. All these protests, to me, seems like we're just trying to get the approval. And once we get the approval from them, it's not enough for us.
And I mean, and just to really sum it all up, just in layman's terms, we're gonna have to be the ones to end white supremacy.
Exactly.
But you know why? Because if we put it in their hands to do it, we're still putting them in a dominant position, unfortunately.
I mean, but situations like this to me are speaking to that. Like, there are some, I don't know, I say this all the time. Like, I think that is white supremacy. Like, your participation in this system, knowing that it's formed that way, and you don't have to. Like, it might be that you have to at work, but you don't have to do it after work on Sunday all day with the NFL.
One day out of the week, though. Like, I don't feel like, and again, we had a whole different conversation. You just, like, you don't like it for personal reasons that we talked about. So
I
you
just
have a
don't-
personal vendetta against the
I don't have a
NFL, and
vendetta.
it's nothing that has to do with
It's
the
not
NFL.
a vendetta.
It has to do with your personal situation. So that's why every time
It's not a
'cause
vendetta.
First, you just went from, oh, they're not talking about, or they don't represent.
I just don't think-
Hold on. First, you went, they don't talk about the movement, or they just saying in racism, to you watching it all day on Sunday. So what's the problem? Like,
The problem is, I don't think they did enough. I think what they did was a
It's
little
never gonna be enough.
too little, too late. The whole thing with Cap.
We're still going through this.
Okay, the whole thing with Cap And then all of a sudden now what's his name had a change of heart and we were wrong and blah, 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 blah. And then, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't like them. I don't like the way it's set up. I don't like the no black ownership. I don't like none of that.
That's all emotional stuff. I don't like. That's emotional.
At the end of the day, it just comes down to your interests. What are your interests, and what are you willing to do to get your interests met? I feel like there's a saying that you have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests. So what are your interests? What are you trying to get?
I mean, I guess.
You know?
Yeah, we got to go, y'all. So I was going to say TikTok, they were supposed to be shutting it down, but they've come to an agreement with Walmart, and they're not shutting it down. So you can still have TikTok. They're making a deal with an American company, Walmart. Read the story on CTD_ATL. What's the other company with Walmart? It's Walmart and
Oracle.
Who? Oracle. Okay, thank you. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you again next week. Make sure you hit us up. Follow Innovative Black Station. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube so you can check us out. And download us on wherever you download your favorite podcasts. Make sure you follow us on CTD_ATL. Have a good week, guys. Peace.
Peace.